Hi, thank you for joining us on this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully today with our picks and your picks, it's going to be another profitable day for you. Monday, March 4th, as we get rolling into March here. So March Madness right around the corner. Tournaments actually start tonight, conference tournaments. We do have a play in one of those in college basketball. And we got a 6-game slate in the NBA with a couple interesting games for sure. So let's get started into all this madness. We'll start off with Duke traveling to NC State. Duke currently like a 5.5, 6-point favorite in this one. NC State was at home against North Carolina, and they were a 10.5-point plus dog. Duke ranked way up there right now as well, so only 5.5. This line a little fishy, so when it's fishy, go to the fishy side, so to speak. NC State's been okay. Duke's played really well as of late. They have a cover issue. They seem to never cover. I don't. At least when I really like the game. So when we're on them, it seems to be a little fishy. So we'll play against them tonight. We'll take the NC State. We're going to take the points in that one. Big Monday on the road. Regardless of the place to play, it's tough to win on Big Monday on the road in any conference. You're coming off that Saturday, game normally, so a little bit tough to make that quick turnaround on the road. But even though they're not going very far, but NC State plus 3.5 first half, plus 6 for the game. One more time, NC State plus 3.5 first half, plus 6.5 for the game. Then the college basketball game that we're on that is a conference tournament game. Florida Gulf Coast 3.5-point favorite against Queens. FGCU beat Queens by 30 earlier in the season at home. So only 3.5 here. Understand it's a conference tournament game. Anything can happen, but we really like Gulf Coast here. Is that we think they get through this first round of the tournament pretty easily. So minus 1.5 first half for FGCU, and then also minus 3.5 for the game. One more time, FGCU minus 1.5 first half, minus 3.5 for the game. Then the last part of Big Monday on that we're going to be on is actually Texas at Baylor. Baylor coming off a big win. This could be a little bit of a letdown spot. I'm not going to say that it's not, but they are such a better team than Texas. So we're hoping that they can bounce right back here. Texas comes off, doing what Texas does, which is beat up on some of the. They're a mid team. Baylor's one of the top teams in the Big 12. Texas beats up on the lower teams. That's pretty common. But we like Baylor in this spot. I do not think this is going to be a cruise. The line is 6.5 for a reason instead of being 9 or 10. This is what would they call a trap game, so to speak, as Baylor is coming off that big win against Kansas at home. But we will take Baylor minus 3.5 first half, minus 6.5 for the game. One more time, Baylor minus 3.5 first half, and minus 6.5 for the game. That's the 3 games that we like in college basketball. We'll get to the NBA now. Like I said, I think we got, 6-game slate tonight in the NBA, so I wouldn't call it a monster slate by any stretch of the imagination, but some interesting games. Clippers, Bucks, and Thunder, and the Lakers are obviously probably the 2 headliners of this 6-game set, but let's get into it. First game out of the chute for us is Grizzlies at the Nets. Nets 9.5-point favorite. 205.5 total, so not expecting a lot of scoring here with the 205 number. On this one. So the Nets in the last 2 games against the Hawks, I don't know. They looked like a team I thought they were going to play like most of the season, which is a lot of, they play good defense. They run the ball. They pass the ball tremendously well. It's amazing when Cam Thomas is out of the lineup, how well the ball moves. So spread the ball around, a lot of threes, a lot of athletic wings. And so the first game against the Hawks, they absolutely came out and destroyed the Hawks. The second game against the Hawks took like a 15-point lead. Nets get it back to almost even, and then in the third quarter they just trucked them, put that game out of reach. The Grizzlies have a unique ability to muck everything up. That's the only thing that kind of scares me in this particular game. is that the Grizzlies, for some reason, they have nobody. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, no Jaren Jackson, no Marcus Smart, no John Morant, no Steven Adams. And it doesn't seem to matter. Not that they're winning games. They're covering games, though, because they're getting such big numbers. But it's just been, how do I put this? Ugly? It's ugly basketball to watch. We're hoping the Nets continue passing the ball around, motion-type offense. They look so much better when this all occurs. And they ramp up the defensive side as well. They got a chance, I think, to truck Memphis. But knowing how this is probably going to work, Memphis will muck this game up enough to keep it somewhat remotely close. We're going to stay away from the side and the total in this one here. But we do like player props in this one. A couple of guys. So Mikal Bridges, first one we're going to focus on, over 22.5 points. Also 25-plus points, 30-plus points. And then we'll also take Mikal for 3-plus threes and 4-plus threes. And Nick Claxton we're going to take for 10-plus rebounds and 2-plus blocks. So one more time in this Nets and Grizzlies matchup. Mikal Bridges over 22.5 points, 25-plus points, 30-plus points. Mikal Bridges 3-plus threes, 4-plus threes, over 31.5 par as well. And then Nick Claxton, 10-plus rebounds and 2-plus blocks in this particular game. So in Claxton at those numbers was a little juicy. He was minus 160 on both bets, but I mean, when you start pushing to 11 rebounds and 3 blocks, I understand there's some plus money available. A lot harder to hit those, I think. And there's a good possibility if they do truck the Grizzlies, they could get pulled early. So we want to keep those numbers a shade lower. Mikal Bridges against the Hawks was on fire. We hope he continues to shoot the ball like he should and not be, he gets open so much because he's moving all the time off the screen. So getting him the ball should be the priority. When he gets the ball, not only that, he's not a selfish player. He will find the open guy if it's not there. So, he'll get Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Nick Claxton. He'll get these guys some easy buckets as well. Getting him the ball, I think, paramount. When they did really well after the trade last year and got into the playoffs, it was because Mikal Bridges was the reason, not Cam Thomas. And you can kind of see on this offense that Mikal is kind of the difference. The problem is Cam Thomas is very ball dominant. Everything kind of stops. Mikal's not getting the ball. Why are you going to fight through 4 screens every possession if you're never going to get the ball? Kind of thing on that one. So next game up, though, Bucks, Clippers. Bucks, about around a 5-point favorite. 225 total. Bucks have played really well as of late. Of course, it also helps when you got a couple of games against the Hornets to look, fantastic, stuff like that. The Clippers, a little bit of a struggle here. Them and the T-Wolves have kind of, since the break, All-Star break, kind of struggled just a shade here. Clippers come off a tough one against the T-Wolves last night. So coming off back-to-back games, Bucks rested. Not only that, you're in multiple cities and multiple nights, makes it a little bit tougher as well, especially for an older team. It was a tough one yesterday. I mean, it looked like a game from the early 90s. Is a game in the, scored in the high 80s, low 90s on that particular game. So we do like the Bucks here tonight. There's still a question mark on a couple of Bucks players, so maybe not a ton of props available in it. But we do like the Bucks here. We did actually take them at 5.5 to avoid a little bit of juice, but Bucks minus 1.5 first quarter, minus 3 first half, minus 5.5 for the game. We're going to go back to the under Paul George props as it tends to pay off for us at a really high clip. Paul George under 19.5 points, under 2.5 threes, under 28.5 par. Malik Beasley over 10.5 points, 3+ threes and 4+ threes. He tends to shoot the 3 ball at home extremely well. Also, we've got Giannis for 12+ rebounds, and James Harden over 2.5 turnovers. Now, unfortunately, he didn't get there yesterday against the T-Wolves. He normally doesn't miss too many of these. He's normally good for 3 turnovers a game. It's not that the Bucks are great defensively, just sometimes he gets a little bit with the T-Wolves. They slow that pace down maybe doesn't make as many mistakes when they're trying to run and gun a little bit, which they will with the Bucks. Therefore, it gets a little bit of that. Not only that, if he tries to drive the ball to the hoop, there's a lot of interior presence to kind of mess with him a little bit, maybe get some bad passes, things of that nature. So one more time in this Bucks and Clippers matchup, we've got the Bucks -1.5 first quarter, -3 first half, -5.5 for the game. Paul George under 19.5 points, under 2.5 3-pointers made, and under 28.5 par. Malik Beasley for the Bucks, over 10.5 points, 3+ threes, and 4+ threes. Giannis. How about Giannis? 12+ rebounds, and James Harden over 2.5 turnovers. All right, next game up on the board. T-Wolves at the Blazers. So Blazers, one of the worst road teams against the number out there. Now, that number, of course, they got benefited the last 2 games they played against the Grizzlies as they get a couple road wins. Don't foresee that happening tonight. The total number is right around 14. This is one of those ones I can see Minnesota winning 100-70. Like Portland just can't put up any points. That type of particular game. The T-Wolves play great defense. The problem is sometimes offensively they can be a little bit challenged, and a lot of it's AE necessarily doesn't, Ant-Man doesn't take control of the offense. He tries to get everybody involved a little bit, which I understand. You want your teammates to be involved. That way they give that good defensive effort as well. But the guys have to realize who they have on their team as well. So, I like Gobert. We bet a lot of Gobert props normally, as he's been pretty profitable. AE is one of those guys, it seems like he's going to get 9 points or 35, depending on what's going on. Karl Towns has been a little disappointing since the All-Star break. He also, I think, is dealing with a little bit of an injury as well. Jaden McDaniels has actually taken off a little bit since the break, but the T-Wolves have struggled overall in the win-loss column since the break. So we expect the T-Wolves to come out, make a smash tonight, even though coming off the back-to-back with a tough game against the Clippers yesterday. We will be riding with the T-Wolves. It's hard to bet on Portland. We've done it plenty of times so far this season, but normally it's at home when they're getting a bunch of points on that one. So we did take the T-Wolves -5 first quarter, -8.5 first half, -14 for the game. Anthony Simons under 22.5 points, under 2.5 threes, under 31.5 par, and over 3.5 turnovers. We also like Anthony Edwards, as we think he's going to be sitting a lot, especially fourth quarter, under 26.5 points, under 2.5 threes, under 36.5 par. Rudy Gobert for 3+ blocks, and we hope he gets them early because he could be sitting quite a bit towards the end of the game. And the Blazers under the 97.5 team total. So you kind of see we got a lot of unders here. Don't think there's going to be a ton of scoring, especially on the Trailblazers side. Anthony Simons has had 2 games where he went over this number lately and 2 games where he went way under this number. If he's hot from 3, he's going to crush it. If he's not, then he won't get anywhere near the number. So a little bit, you're playing whether or not Anthony's going to be hot from the 3-point line. I think he's a really good player. I would have loved to see the Suns actually make a play for him rather than Bradley Beal. He's got more range than Beal. He's also a better ball handler than Beal, but they didn't go that route. They got Beal, gave up, absorbed that monstrous contract for a guy who's going to play 50 games a season. Now Devin Booker's out for the Suns as well, so, at least for, a week to 10 days at a minimum as the Suns try to figure out what the hell's going on. But enough about the Suns. We'll get to them again here. As they're going against the Thunder that they went against yesterday. But the T-Wolves, this is a game they need, and this is a game they need to feel good about themselves afterwards to get back, kind of solidify themselves as a top couple seeds in the Western Conference before this takes off. A bad couple games, the way it goes in the West, and you could drop from 1 to 5 pretty quick, and be on not the outside looking in necessarily, but not have that home course advantage for the first couple 3 rounds. So T-Wolves -5 first quarter, -8.5 first half, -14 for the game. Anthony Simons under 22.5 points, under 3.5 threes, under 31.5 par, and over 3.5 turnovers. Anthony Edwards for the T-Wolves under 26.5 points, under 2.5 threes, and under 36.5 par. Rudy Gobert, 3+ blocks. Blazers under that 97.5 team total. Next game up, Jazz. Wizards. Line's actually been coming down. We grabbed this at 6. Now it looks like in some spots it's down to 5.5. Lauri Markkanen not playing tonight. So we should see a lot more Colin Sexton and John Collins in this one. Keontae George is a game-time decision as well. The Wizards have been, man, they just look like they do not care or have a clue what they're trying to do for their future. With the Jazz, you can kind of see some spots where they're really trying to, mold what they're going to have for the future. I mean, Markkanen, I think, is one of the bigger pieces of that, so him being out is kind of a bummer. For the Jazz, Colin Sexton and Keontae George is kind of the point guards that they want to roll with. John Collins has been a nice piece. He can, he's playing a 5, and he can play a stretch 5 and shoot some threes as well. And a solid rebounder. The Wizards, really they're going to have their nucleus be Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole. I don't see that as part of the nucleus for that franchise. I don't think they have the future of their franchise on their current team. So therefore, I think it's not just a couple years away, it's 5 years away, and hoping they can get the nucleus of their team in the next couple years. But we do like the Jazz here. I love the number at 5.5 even more because we liked it at 6. But we did take the Jazz -1 first quarter, -3 first half, -6 for the game. Since no Markkanen tonight, we expect a little bit more points out of John Collins, over 17.5 points. We also took a gamble here on him at 2+ 3-pointers made. Colin Sexton over 1.5 threes. We would have played his point total too, but it did bump up like 4 or 5 points over where he normally is. It's at like 22, 23.5 when he's normally at 18, 19.5. Colin Sexton, though, we did like 6+ assists. Go back to that John Collins again, 10+ rebounds, over 29.5 par. We also like Kuzma over 23.5 points and 3+ 3-pointers, as the Jazz are necessarily not known for their defense. They are known for putting up points. With no Markkanen tonight, though, I'm probably going to have to focus a little bit more on the defensive end to get that win, but we do like the Jazz here. But Jazz -1 first quarter, -3 first half, -6 for the game. John Collins over 17.5 points, 2+ threes, 10+ rebounds, and over 29.5 par. Colin Sexton, 2+ threes, 6+ assists, and then Kuzma over 23.5 points and 3+ threes in that one. Next game on the board, Bulls Kings. God help me in this one. Kings 6.5-point favorite, 228 total. We had the Bulls in the last game against the Bucks. They kind of just died off a cliff. It was a Friday night game, late. Everything's set up for them. The Bucks were coming in, 5th game in 8 nights. Everything was tailor-made for them to get a win. And they were even a dog of 4.5, 5 points. And still didn't come with that against the Bucks. It's been disappointing to say the least. I just don't know what they're going to do. Coby White, the one positive thing I will say about this Bulls season is that Coby White's established himself that he can play point guard in this league, and he can score, and he can assist. Zach LaVine obviously been out. Lonzo Ball's been out for God knows how long. The question is if Lonzo comes back next year, is Coby White still there? If not, he should be an attractive piece. He's going to have a lot more value than Lonzo will coming off that injury. But they have some decisions to make there in Chicago. DeMar DeRozan's solid. He's never going to be a guy, I think, that's going to be like, whoa, it's DeMar DeRozan. He's the face of the franchise. I don't know if he'll ever be that piece, but he's a fantastic 2 or 3 on a winning basketball team. And this team, there is no real identity on this team. It used to be defense. It was offense. It was 3-point shooting. It was driving it to the hole. But they can't seem to settle on what their identity is as a team, which makes it hard. Sometimes you got to, if you think you're a great 3-point shooting team, then hell, throw up 63s a game. If you think you can drive to the hole, drive to the hole all the time. If you think you're a great defensive team, focus on defense. They're just kind of all over the board a little bit. And that's common amongst, a lot of NBA teams that maybe don't have that nucleus of of stars, not necessarily stars, but maybe rising stars or guys they want to build a franchise around. They just don't seem to have that. But like I said, the one positive thing is Kobe White's really been strong for them. And the Kings, on the other hand, last season was so fantastic to watch the Kings. This season's been anything but. It's not that they're, a 10-win team or something, but it's just been De'Aaron Fox, ever since like December, has been inconsistent. Domantas Sabonis, though, has played extremely well. There wasn't any Sabonis props available as of yet, so I need to check injury report on him as we were going through making bets on that. But this is one of those games. It could go, I'll be really honest with you, I could see both teams winning. There's multiple paths to victory for both teams. There's also multiple paths for these teams to give the game away. So the only thing we're going to play in this particular matchup is going to be player props. It's going to be focused around Kobe White. We do have one other one as well, but Kobe White, 20-plus points. Kobe White, 25-plus points. Kobe White, 30-plus points. Then Kobe White, 3-plus threes, 4-plus threes, 5-plus threes. Kobe White over 32.5 par. And the one thing we will play on the Kings side is De'Aaron Fox over 2.5 turnovers. I think he's still a game-time decision. If he does play, though, we want this bet, as he tends to turn the ball over 3 times a game without really blinking too hard. So one more time, in this Bulls and Kings matchup, Kobe White, 20-plus points, 25-plus points, 30-plus points, 3-plus threes, 4-plus threes, 5-plus threes. Kobe White over 32.5 par. De'Aaron Fox over 2.5 turnovers. Last game of the night, Thunder going to L.A. Thunder come off a big win against Phoenix last night. Now, they did have to hold off the Suns as the Suns made a big run after the Thunder crushed them in the first quarter and first half. But the Thunder come in, they stop that run. SGA has another fantastic night. In my opinion, he's MVP of the league so far. I understand Jokic puts up ridiculous stats. But Jokic has an experienced NBA championship team versus SGA running with the young boys. Chet Holmgren and his it's second year, rookie season, whatever you want to call it. Jalen Williams in his second season. They did get Gordon Hayward to kind of maybe help off the bench a little bit, give him a little bit of experience off the bench. But, SGA's been the difference. Now, SGA struggled from three. In the last game, he had been hitting 2-3+ three-pointers a game pretty consistently. Struggled last game. That's fine. He doesn't really need to shoot the three a lot. The thing with him shooting the three ball is it opens up for him to drive quite a bit more because guys have to come out to him and can't sag. So when he's running the pick and roll offense, the defender can't sag behind waiting for him to drive the ball into the lane. So him shooting the three, even if he has a bad night making them, has to be done. Chet Holmgren's had a fantastic season. If it wasn't for Wembanyama, he'd be Rookie of the Year in a landslide. But Wembanyama has a monster again last night. He has a 30-point double-double with 6 blocks. Come on. This dude's like, the only reason to give it to Holmgren would be because of the record. He's actually playing on a winning team. He's not playing absolute buttload worth of minutes either. Like Wembanyama has not been playing. Like, if those guys were both playing 32 minutes a game, I think you'd even see their stats at a more ridiculous pace. But, but Holmgren's had a fantastic season. He's a great shot blocker. He has been good from the three. It's been a little bit of a struggle lately. He finally had a point total since the break that went under. He's been consistently, beating up his point total ever since the All-Star break. But SGA is just, he's been fantastic. Now, on the other side, the Lakers, I love LeBron. I'm not a LeBron hater. AD, though, I could live without. I do not like D'Angelo Russell at all. I think he takes way too many shots in that offense. That offense runs better when AD basically touches the ball in the paint every damn time. He's got to go down there, establish position, and want the ball. And then he can kind of be like Jokic does, be that guy that either passes the ball or takes that shot inside. He's got a fantastic game around the rim, and he can pass the ball. So I don't quite understand sometimes what they're doing offensively. It's like shove the ball inside, work the ball inside out. As a lot of teams have to work the ball outside in. because they do not have that post presence. But and LeBron as well can go down and post up and run the offense basically from the post. So I'm a little confused on what they try to accomplish, and that's why they're struggling to make the play-in, folks. I mean, versus, number one team in the West right now in the Thunder. The Thunder know exactly who they are. They drive the ball and kick or drive the ball and score. It's the way they run it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fantastic. And they turn you over quite a bit. They get points off of turnovers. Those don't happen quite as often in the playoffs. So maybe in a 7-game series, that's a little bit more of a struggle. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking at for the Thunder, as there's still a 25-1 shot to win the NBA championship. For where they're at, it's pretty ridiculous. But they got a much better shot than the Suns do. I think the Nuggets could cause issues for them. Clippers possibly, T-Wolves possibly, and the Celtics possibly. But other than that, I think they have the rest of the teams covered in a 7-game set. But we do have a lot of plays here in this game. Let's get to it. Thunder -0.5 first quarter, -0.5 first half, -1 for the game. Anthony Davis, though, has played really well against the Thunder. So we're going to take him over 25.5 points, 14-plus rebounds, over 43.5 par, over 2.5 blocks. Chet Holmgren, in the 3 games, he's had 2 really solid games, 1 game a little bit under snuff. But we'll take Holmgren over 16.5 points, Holmgren over 28.5 par, Holmgren for 3-plus blocks. We're also going to take SGA. SGA had 1 bad game against the Lakers, and a bad game was 24 points. But we'll take SGA over 31.5 points, over 1.5 threes, and for 2-plus steals at even money as well. And then we also like LeBron over 3.5 turnovers. Like I said, the Thunder are very good at turning you over. And LeBron does get way too loosey-goosey with the ball, to put it mildly. So one more time in this Thunder-Lakers matchup. Thunder -0.5 first quarter, -0.5 first half, -1 for the game. Anthony Davis over 25.5 points, 14-plus rebounds, over 43.5 par, over 2.5 blocks. Then we'll get to Chet Holmgren over 16.5 points, over 28.5 par, over 2.5 blocks. SGA over 31.5 points, over 1.5 three-pointers made, and 2-plus steals as well. And then we'll finish it off with LeBron over 3.5 turnovers. Maybe I haven't mentioned it before in the show today, but at the end of every episode that we do, there will be a link in the comments section to our Google Sheet. This is a ledger of all of our bets, what juice we got those at, how many units we placed on those, also what book we placed that at, and then obviously the result once the game is finished as well. So do make sure you check that out when you get some time. We have all the sports that we bet on there. So if you're looking for football, the last couple seasons are on there, 22-23 to 20 and 23-24. Baseball 23 is on there. We also have baseball 24 on there, as we have a bunch of futures that we've played. Some matchup futures, win totals, home run totals, things of that nature are all on there. And then also we've got obviously basketball 23-24, which we went through a list of our bets today. And then we have our non-mainstream sports tab is going to be like golf, Formula One, which we love, UFC, and more in there. So we even bet like Daytona 500, and we'll bet specialty events, but we'll put all those there. UFC 299 is coming this weekend, so we'll have bets for UFC 299 in there as well. So do make sure you check out those Google Sheets. That's our ledger. If you can't catch an episode of the show, you can always click the link into the Google Sheets, and you can see exactly what we're playing if you just want some backup on, because everybody wants to make their own bets, right? Nobody's going to sit here and go, okay, well, I'm going to take your whole sheet. That doesn't really happen, even though it's a great blueprint to do so if you want to make some money at it. But they have their own opinions on everything, and that's what makes sports debate and sports gambling debate, I think, so great, is that everybody has differing opinions on everything. And it's all based on experience. It could be where you live, media that you hear, all that kind of stuff, or maybe guys that you like to listen to as well on what they like. So a lot of that's there, So basically, if you need to see some backup, like, you liked Baylor tonight and you're not quite sure, And then, we bet Baylor. That just gives you a little bit more confidence heading to that betting app or betting window to make some money. Because that's what we're here for. We love sports. We love making money. So let's put the two together and make this a winner. And then, as always, if you can subscribe and get notifications to our YouTube channel, so when we drop a new episodes of bets, you get those first. It makes life extremely simple to find us. Once you hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on for YouTube. You'll get a notification to your phone or your device to let you know Sports Bets for Free has dropped a new episode of bets. And then, like I said, match them up with your bets and give you that ton of confidence you need heading to the betting app or betting window. I do appreciate everybody's support as always and look forward to seeing you on the next episode.